Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We have the food calendar and ingredients list in Excel. This is a very valuable tool to get your groceries that are a variable cost into a fixed amount. It is very difficult to do that. It can fluctuate. The key is to be as accurate as possible so you create that consistency in your budget. So what you can see here, there's a few things that we're going to go through here. One is we have the monthly estimates for food costs, and this is what we do with all of our exercises to know what our monthly amounts are going to be. And you can see that we've pre-filled in some information here just for an example. So you can see some key pieces here. If this is something new to you and you've not done this, what you're going to need to do is understand how many weeks are in each month of the year that you're in. And you can see, for example, we have February. So let's highlight those real quick. February, May, August, and October. Because there are 4 months of the year with a fifth week, you're always going to have this in any given year, and the rest will be 4. And this is just like the weekly paycheck schedule that we've talked about. Next, you're going to need to look at 3 to 6 months of your grocery bill purchasing history so that you can understand the kind of money that you've been spending. And within that, you need to figure out if things like toiletries, cleaners, garbage bags are part of that grocery bill. Oftentimes it is because you're purchasing those items in the grocery store or the warehouse club. Okay, so once you get that down, you're going to have to create those averages, and right off the bat you might say, I'm spending a lot of money. You might even make adjustments to the bill before you even put it all together. Oftentimes it's very surprising to people when they look at it to realize how much money they really spend when it comes to grocery related items. Okay, so if I'm looking at the grid here, you can see that the costs have all been inputted in this case, and it will add it up for you. And in this case, it says it's $2,928 for this yearly projection. It will also calculate the monthly average. In this case, it's $244. And you can see that this grid over here is automatically going to calculate it for you. So you can see that now we know that the average per month is $244. And then the cost itself does the same thing. So whatever you type in here is just going to do it. So let's say this was $322. And it changes all the numbers. Okay, you can see here right off the bat that we have some consistent months, and then we have some ones that are a little higher because these are the bigger check months for the 5 weeks. And then, for example, in August, maybe you're throwing a party. Maybe in November you host Thanksgiving, things like that. So you can see there's some variable differences here. But you can also see that these numbers align right here. Your budget amount and your cost should equal. Now, again, if you come out with a decimal over here, then it may round up and you might have a minor discrepancy in the dollars, but that's no big deal. You're right where you need to be. You're just rounding up or rounding down one way or the other in your mind. So the system's going to round where it needs to. It wants the flat number. Now let's take a peek at the grid. And we can see right here there's only 2 months of the year where really there needs to be added cash. And this is good news. So you can see right here that if we threw $2 in the account, that would zero it out, and then you're going to get down here and say in November, which is that Thanksgiving month, that you need $76 here. So that says right here, adding it up, that you're going to need $78 to put in your supplemental account to start the groceries for the beginning of the year. And again, that money, that $78, as long as your cost of $2,928 sticks, that money will be there for you. If you have less than $2,928 when it all shakes out, you'll have more money left over than the $78. So keep in mind, groceries are finicky. The costs change in a lot of cases, up and down. Sometimes there's a bad orange crop, but orange juice goes up. Sometimes beef goes up. Sometimes they get a disease and the livestock is lower. So whatever it may be, it just takes a lot of maintenance. So another thing to look at here that helps out is the food calendar. This is the automated formula. So what the squad has done is built out a base template for you that you can choose to use if you'd like. You can certainly use an app somewhere or write something down for yourself. We recommend doing this because it gives you good visibility and coverage of the food you're eating so that you can plan out your meals. Usually by planning out your meals means you're going to have more food variety, and you'll probably save money because it's keeping you from rushing out to the store and saying, oh, I'm going to pick up a pizza tonight, or I'm going to go get carry out from this place. Again, that's up to you. You budget any way you want, but in terms of straight groceries, this is a really nice tool for you to have a little grid in front of you. It creates organization. So you can see as we go over here that every day you'll have 4 items. Now, for example, you can use this any way you want. In my particular house, we just use it for dinners. But you can see there's a list of items you can choose from. And you can click in each one of them. I'm going to have whitefish tonight with baked potato, for example, and broccoli. Oops. Let's just say bananas. Whatever you want. You can fill all these out for the month. You can see sometimes you just want to go a week because usually people purchase groceries on a week average, sometimes twice. So this is a great little tool for you to use. Okay, now you can see that there's a food calendar formula. And if you want to make changes to this yourself, there's a few things you're going to have to do. So we'll show you real quick. If you start this from scratch, and in this case it's already there, but you want to highlight every cell that you want the drop down to exist. Then you have to go into your data tab here, and then you go under data validation. And you want to make sure if you start this from scratch, you want this to be a list. And then it wants to know where the list exists. So you can see it's on this sheet over here, the food calendar formula. So you can either click on here, and you can see this is where all it's dotted. And that means it knows exactly the range to put into those lists. Now, if you want to add anything yourself, you could go down here and let's just say you added steak Diane. You go back over here, you highlight where you want everything to go. You go back to data validation. You have your list already, and then you click on this, and then you got to go down here and add steak Diane to the mix. And then you hit enter. Okay, now if you go down here, go all the way to the bottom, you'll see steak Diane. And that's how those work. Again, if you have any more questions, always contact the squad. We'll be certainly happy to help you out with this. This is a little more formula based. We just want to show you the example of using a food calendar. There's certainly other tools out there that may be of use to you. And then the other thing is the ingredients list. We have added this as well. The ingredients list is a great way to go check your kitchen and see what's in the fridge and the freezer and the cabinets to know what you need to buy so that you don't overbuy, because oftentimes people waste food. If you were to look on the internet, you'll see a common number around the 25% range, meaning that's how much food is wasted in everybody's house around the world. So that is pretty damning if you think about it. It's like saying for every $10 I spend, $2.50 of that, I'm not going to get to see that money, or I'm not going to get to see that food. So this ingredients list is a great way to keep on task of what you need to buy, so you have it in your kitchen, you use up the food, then you go back in your next weekly cycle, and then you start it over again. Now you can see right here there's another drop down list. We put a base example in here for you, and here's some common items down to fruits and spices and corn and vegetables, salad, spinach, strawberries. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Salmon, there's meats in here, things like that. So you could say, you know what, I'm going to eat some salmon dinner tonight, so I know that I don't have any salmon in the freezer, so I hit I don't have it. Spinach, maybe it's in the drawer, and then amount in stock, you're going to have to figure that out, and you're going to say, well, what dinner is it for? So again, maybe if it was just fish, something like that. You could choose whatever you want. So we're just kind of working off the fly here, but so maybe you're going to have chicken marsala and you want to eat spinach with it. So now you know that's what it's for, and then you're going to have to type in how much of it you need, and again, what you use for the cost is what you are going to figure out when you get to the store. And that way you're going to have to write that down, or you're going to have to use an app on your phone, and that way it'll give you an idea as you go if you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of what your bill is going to look like before you leave the store. That's hard to determine as you go, so again, that's an option, but as you get used to spending on your meals, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost you on a weekly basis. So just like the other grid, over here, you can see that there's formulas as well. So for this one here, like items, if you want to change what those items are, you got to go back to data validation. You click it again. You see it's a list. And then you got to hit this button for where it's at. And you can see right here, this is where everything's highlighted. So if you want to go back and make changes, you're going to have to make sure to add something in the columns that you want. So you can see right here, we moved up a little bit, and you can see where the columns are displayed here that show up in the list here. So again, if you went down here and added an item such as, I don't know, ice cream, then you're good there. And then you got to come back here and say, well, this is for ice cream tonight, right? But I want it in all my availability. You got to hit, again, data validation, list, make sure it's there. It'll stay there if it's already there to begin with. click that, and then make sure you go down here and you would highlight all of this, and you would be good to go. And then when you're done, it'll show up in your list again. Okay, so that's going to cover it for here. If you don't choose to use these drop-down item lists, you can certainly do it manually. So the grid is here for that, for the ingredients, and the grid is here for the food calendar as well. So that's your option. Again, we just want to show you the value of using this, especially since groceries can be one of the top 3 items on cost in your budget. So use whatever option you want. Use any app out there, whatever works for you. Just try to use it if you can, because again, you're going to eat better, you're going to have more variety, and you're probably going to save more money. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video, and we thank you for joining, and we will see you in the next one.